You are now tuned in to Love, Truth, and Redemption. Yeah, cause I can't get my track. I can't get my music to. Yeah, I can't get my music to load up. But I'm about to. Huh? I'm here, man. I'm on the radio show, but I can't get my music to load up. So, but I'm just go. Huh? I'm just gonna open it up and just talk till you get here. I said I'm on the radio show, and but I can't get my music to load up. But so I'm just gonna open it up and talk till you get here.
Okay, well, I'm on the highway now. I guess I had to drop my son off to McClinton.
Okay.
But I'm on the highway now, though. What's going on with the music?
Man, get here, man. You interrupted my show.
Oh,
I, I do apologize for that, brothers and sisters. I was having a special guest on today. I was having a special guest on today, and he's on the highway here right now, and that's Moshe, King Moshe, Yasharala Nation. This is Love, Truth, and Redemption radio broadcast. I'm your brother Demetri Milligan. I'll be your host for this evening. This is indeed a great day to be alive. It's a day that the Most High have made. We should rejoice and be glad in it. To our listeners in Radio Land, we want to give you an update. I was having a few issues with getting my music to load up. But that's okay because this is talk radio anyway. I play a little music here and there, but King Moshe, as I said, he's on the way here, and when he get here, we will get that issue taken care of. So now let's take off running. We're going to talk about something that is of the utmost importance. The utmost importance. Let me tell you, it is a very delicate subject. It's a very delicate subject because we have been raised a certain type of way, and then the way that we have been raised, we were never made aware of these things. So we made a lot of mistakes, and many lives have been destroyed, and many lives are yet to be destroyed if we don't fix this. And that thing that we're talking about is fornication. And most people know what that is, but when we were coming up, we didn't know what fornication was because we never heard nobody use the word. Nobody ever talked to us about sexuality and promiscuity, lasciviousness. These are words that we had never even heard before in our life. And then you start learning and you start getting into the scriptures, and then you start finding things out. But you say, well, man, I was raised that this was just the common thing to do. This was just the ideal thing to do. And then we can't understand why our condition as a people is in the shape that it's in. And so it's something terribly wrong. And unless we fix it, you see, now coming from a landscaping background, sometimes people want weeds off of their fence line. They want weeds, out of their flower bed. And so they'll hire you to chemically treat their property using weed killer. And that works until it starts to rain again. And then the weeds come right back. And so what we are trying to say is that unless you pull the root up, you can't destroy the thing. It's going to keep coming back. And then we say, well, how do I deal with this thing? I done lived my whole life this way. I've been doing this for umpteen Boodle-Scat years. And now you telling me this and take away my pleasure? Well, I'm not telling anybody anything. And I don't tell people what they can do and what they can't do. What we do here is that we look at real life and we look at the condition that we as brothers and sisters are in, and we look at the condition that our families are in. We look at the condition of the mindset and the thinking. And we look at the brokenness and the poverty and the drug abuse and alcoholism. And we look at all of these things, forgotten about children. And then we look at the Word. Because that's the only place that we're going to find solutions or consolation for the things that we have to deal with or things we have to face on an everyday basis. I'll reinforce this with every time I get on a microphone, every time I'm on Facebook, YouTube, or even Love, Truth, and Redemption radio broadcast, that I am not a religious man. And none of the things that I'm associated with or have anything to do with religion, but they have everything to do with righteousness. You see? And so, when we look at the condition that we are in as a family, then we have to start understanding what's most important to the Most High. And I can tell you right now, what's most important to the Most High is the family structure. And so we are dealing with, in order to have a family, you have to have a man and a woman. As a matter of fact, you have to have a Hebrew man and a Hebrew woman. You have to have a Negro man and a Negro woman. Because only a Negro man and a Negro woman was given the responsibility through family. That's how the Most High's righteousness will be exemplified in the earth. And we back that up with scripture. God told Abraham, get thee from thy house and from thy father's house into a land that I will show you. And I will make you the father of many nations. And in thee, in your children, in your offspring, in your children and your offspring shall all the families of the earth be blessed. Well, if God had to choose a specific family to be the ones that will cause all the other families on the earth to come to know him or come to receive the blessing, well, you do the math. Because if the people that he chose to exemplify his righteousness among the nations and cause them to see something in us that would make them by faith choose his way, if he chose us for that, and we don't understand it, then we can see why the world is in the condition that it's in. So that's what we're going to be dealing with. So you have to have a man and you have to have a woman. And in order for you to stay connected, there has to be some agreement. I'm not saying that there's never no disagreement, but there have to be some agreement. And above all of that, each person as an individual has to understand their responsibility to the Most High and their accountability to him. Now, that's the covenant of marriage. And that's what the Father put into the world to exemplify his righteousness among all the people of the earth. So when we get to the place to where we are comfortable and content with being single, something's terribly wrong with that picture. Am I looking at the comments? I will look at the comments. Yeah. Because the brothers and sisters are always welcome to their comments. Yeah. So, and yes, you are absolutely right. Because the only place you're going to find wisdom concerning the family structure is in the scripture. But the problem with that is that many of us are not in the scripture. Many people have been turned off by the scripture because of replacement theology that have came through the hands of the Christian church and the people that lord over the Father's people. They have been turned off to the scripture. And that's a great error, because the Most High's is far more than any man. If you let a man turn you off from God, you're going to die without instruction. Now, it's so many different things in different areas that we can deal with when it comes to marriage and when it comes to the reasons why our marriages can't stay together. There are many things that can be said. The blame game, we're not going to go into that. I'm going to keep this real simple. And I'm going to ask everybody out there in radio land, and then I'm going to have everybody that's streaming Facebook and YouTube. I'm going to keep it real simple, and I'm going to ask you one question. How does God see you? Because that's the question that we all have to ask ourselves. How does God see us? See, as long as we concerned about how other people see us and how other people think about us and what somebody gonna say if I don't do this, well, as long as we live in our life like that, you know what I'm saying, we done doomed our own self. We done stagnated our own purpose. So how does God see you? And what does God intend for us? Everybody got to come face to face with these things on their own. So when we're talking about marriage, we know that the Most High made everything. He made everything. And then he made the man. And he told the man, he said, listen, I'm going to give you 7 commandments. 7 commandments. And this is for any brothers and sisters out there. One of the reasons that you look, you got the Christian church, you got Israelite heritage, you got Islam, you got all these different things. But the Most High, real simple, he gave Adam 7 commandments. Those 7 commandments still exist until this day. So when you start talking about dealing with the root, you got to go all the way back to the root. See, this ain't, right now, this root thing ain't about a man and a woman thing. Because in this particular time, there was not even no woman nowhere around when God told man this. So everything gonna start with the man. When we start talking about God's family structure, I'm not talking about the structure of the family in this world, where they'll put 2 men together, 2 women together. One woman and turned into a man, and then the man and turned into a woman, and now they both together. I'm not talking about that, because that's not no family. We're talking about what God meant when he put family in the earth. There was no woman. He gave Adam 7 commandments. And to you brothers, you understand that these 7 commandments still apply to you. 1, he told them to be fruitful, multiply. 2, he told them to replenish the earth. 3, he told them to have dominion over the fish and everything that creeps. He told him 4, to subdue the earth. And then he told him, what was the next one? Let me find it so I don't be fumbling over nothing. Let me show you 7 commandments. And those 7 commandments still are in operation right now to this day. So when we start talking about families, brothers, there's some things that you're going to have to understand before you get a woman. You see, one of the reasons why we can't keep our families together is because we go and do things prematurely. We're going to get the woman before we get the instruction. Now, how can you lead something? So that's like, you know, you going to go pick your girl up, but you just got a new bicycle, and you're going to go take her for a ride. And you just pop the bicycle out the box and start putting the wheel here, a bolt there, this over here, this over there. And you put her on there. And y'all riding down the street, and now the tire pops off. She falls off the bicycle, hits her head, busts her head open. Now she got a scar for life. All because you didn't have no instruction when it came to what it was that we was doing. And it's amazing. I don't know if we're gonna get to do the radio broadcast because it just went blank on me. So we just keep flowing until things get together. So, you know, God makes man and puts him over everything. I'm still looking for that scripture. It seemed like everything around here done went dead. We'll be all right, though. We'll be all right. I didn't understand how that happened. Let's see. Yeah, we're back. I didn't understand how that happened, but nevertheless, we're back. So, brothers and sisters on Facebook, y'all just bear with me. Every so often, we will have some technical issues. This is one of those days, but we're going to keep on going. The radio broadcast is on. We beckon people to be here and people to be here. And those brothers and sisters that have a little leisure time, we ask you to be patient with us while we find these scriptures. Genesis chapter 1. Chapter 1. Could somebody be so kind to put that on the screen for brothers and sisters for their study in the future when they're watching the videos. All right, now let's go see. Let's go look at these 7 commandments. Yep. Verse 26, and God said, let us make man in our own image, after our own likeness, and let them have dominion over the fish of the sea, over the cattle, over the fowl of the air, and over all the things that creep on the earth. So God created the man in his image, in the image of God, created he him, male and female, created he them, blessed them, and called their name Adam in the day they were created. Brothers and sisters, do y'all see this? Do you understand that when God made man, he made man just like himself? Full, complete, and lacking nothing. Let us make man in our own image and in our own likeness. And he made him, male and female. Created he them, blessed them, and called their name Adam. So when you start talking about family structure, you're talking about what God made. You see? God didn't make nothing that was divided. So when you start talking about a man and a woman, you understand when God see you, he see you as one. And the only way that that one can be separated and broken up, what God have joined together, let no man separate. God made man. And he joined them both together. And the only way that thing can be broken up is if somebody's in rebellion against him. Yep. So God said unto them, be fruitful, multiply, replenish the earth, subdue it, have dominion over it. And then God said, behold, I have given you every green thing. The food source is a commandment. And the 7th commandment was thou shalt not. Thou shalt not eat of it, lest you die. You're going to die the day you eat of it. See, people think everything is about food. But when you start talking about the commandments that God gave him was directly related to family structure. And when we sin against that, the day of you eat of fornication, you're going to die. The day of you eat of adulterous affairs, you're going to die. The day that you start eating of hog maws and chitlins and pork chops and steaks and lobsters and crabs, all of the things that God had created. All the things that God had created. That was Adam's family before he ever got a wife. He was responsible to first have dominion over these things. That meant to have dominion comes from the terminology kingdom. God's kingdom. The king's dominion. Adam was the king over the earth. That was his responsibility. And he had to have dominion over it. But you don't see a king just dominating and reigning and ruling over their subjects in a way that's not conducive to pleasing God. So those beasts and those creeping things and those fowls and all of those things that God had created, they were as Adam's children. And it was Adam that declared, you a lion, you a tiger, you a buzzard, you an eagle, you a rat, You're a mouse. You're a monkey. You're a bird. It was Adam that done all of that. He had the charge to be fruitful and multiply. And then the other 5 commandments was dealing with his interaction with the responsibility that would be given to him, and he would get to work that responsibility out amongst the creation while the Father prepared him for husbandry. Because in order to go into husbandry, you first must be prepared with responsibility on how you're going to take care of things. So Adam had the responsibility to take care of everything. The woman was still locked up in his body. But because the Most High told him to be fruitful and multiply, when Adam was naming the animals and all of them had mates, it was said that there was no mate found for Adam. It wasn't that the mate didn't exist. The mate was already in him. So God said it's not good for man to be all one. It's not good for man to be all by himself. Brother, you better understand that. Ain't no fun in going home every day. You got to go to the nightclub every week, or you got to go somewhere to the boat every week. You got to go to some function every week, trying to score a woman that you can fornicate with, only to go back home alone. That's not good. He said it's not good for man to be alone. I will make a helpmeet for him. And so we know the story. He laid Adam down in a deep sleep, and then he pulled that woman out of his body. And guess what? Because of the authority that Adam had to reign over everything in this world, when he looked at Eve, he said, this is now bone of my bone, flesh of my flesh. You shall be called woman. I'm going to name you just like I named the lion, just like I named the tiger. That's my authority. I'm going to tell you what you are. You woman. Because, why you call her? Because you were taken out of me. You see? And what God have joined together, let no man separate. He's talking about the marital union. Because when your man gets separated from that wife, or brothers want to be separated from sister, you're separated from your own self. You'll never be what God means for you to be in this earth. When you have the mindset, we don't love them hoes. You'll never be what you desire to be. When you have the mindset where you place value, where you place physical paper money value to determine whether or not you're going to be with a man. Can you see yourself like God see you? Can you see yourself like God see you? Because when we start seeing ourselves like God sees us, we'll see ourselves as little bitty imps standing up against the all-powerful, almighty God, but we have the nerves enough to be shaking our fists at him and swinging at him as though he couldn't take our breath away. So I say, no, I don't swing at God. I don't disrespect God. Well, I tell you what, if you're going out here and jump in some woman's bed and you ain't married to her, then guess what? The shoe fit, you got to wear it. And it ain't no big thing. If it's your sister, it's the same thing. If you leading and enticing a man into fornication, then you... Some things, some things we just don't want to deal with, period, man, I don't understand why all the time, but this is a very important one. So God gave Adam 7 commandments, and he could keep the rest of them. Man, you will understand these 5 commandments to have dominion over the earth. Don't you ever let nobody take away your mindset of knowing just how bad and how great you are. Just how bad and great of a responsibility that the God that created everything had given to you. He brought this whole world into existence and made it as a gift to the man. It don't make no difference where you've been. It don't matter what you've done. It don't matter what people said about you. God ain't never going to change his mind about what he said about his man. What is man that thou art so mindful of him? I've made him a little bit lower than the angels. He has subjected all things up under my feet. And he hath become the master of the work of my hands. You're talking about God talking. God say something like that about you? Come on, brothers. So you got to adhere to them 5 commandments. 1, you understand who you are and whose you are. And you operate operate by what he said, not by what people say. You walk like a giant in this earth. Understand that everything in this earth he has subjected up under your feet. Have dominion. That means that you're going to reign and rule over things like a king reigns over his subjects. Starting with your own house. You know what I mean?
Troublemaker.
Starting with your own house. And the second commandment that God giving you is that you got to know how to be on time, because you can't be late going everywhere.
That's cute. That's
Now,
cute.
y'all strike that. That ain't no commandment. That was just a little wisdom. I got King Moshe here, and I'm going to let him
You put the camera on, you keep talking.
get over there and deal with this, with my little technical issues that I'm having. So we're going to get it like that. Y'all give me 1 second, brothers and sisters. Give me 1 second. We're going to get it together in a minute. It's going to be all professional. But y'all already know me. I be over here dropping mics. The phone might ring. Shoot, somebody might come through the door talking loud. Y'all already know me. But at the end of the day, I'm here to do one thing, and that's to deal with this word. Yep. So the brothers and sisters out there on Facebook and YouTube, man, I'm telling you. Boy, if y'all not dealing with these family stuff, y'all need to shut up. I mean, y'all need to shut up. Stop talking. Go put the Bible down and learn how to apply some of the things that we see that's in there. So let's go up in here. So that's 7 commandments. So dominion is one. That, what you got?
What song you trying to play?
I just start with that first song right there.
Okay.
You see? You see that? Yeah, so dominion is one. But you can't, listen, you look at the average house that a man is in and think about this. You think we have dominion? Do you think we reign and having dominion over these sisters? What you think, King?
Do we have rain?
Yeah, you think us average houses, you think we having dominion over our house, over our sisters, over our wives?
We should.
I said, I ain't saying whether or not it was possible. I said,
No, we don't. If you asking about
see,
today's
so that tell you something, and you have to understand why. Because if God tell you to have dominion, not to be a tyrant, but to have dominion, understand your authority, and you can't have authority over that part of you is going a different direction. It's gonna hit a wall. Or it's going to stumble out there in the highway and get hit by an 18-wheeler. Because it ain't going to be around me. It stopped me from being able to do what God instructed me to do. So we're going to have to grow some backbone. And what better way to grow backbone than to find a way and pray about it, brother, and ask God to start helping you make your own money. Because where your money go, your power go. You see, and as long as a man got his money, got his power, he can take care of himself, he can feed himself, he can have the things that he desire to have. He ain't got to put up with none of that foolishness from a rebellious sister. Because she don't understand that she is part of him. She is him. He have a right to deal with himself. No man going to deal with himself in a way that's going to cause him to be in a bad position. So you got to have dominion. And if you can't get dominion with the one that you're with, then you got to get rid of that one. And pray to the Most High to send you the one that you can have dominion with. The one that understands your responsibility that God gave you. The one that's supposed to be there to help you carry out that mission. Now I know this is tough. But it's men that stay with rebellious women for their whole lives. And they go to work and they break their back and they do everything up under the sun for their women. You see? But they don't get no reciprocation from it. I mean, when you got mouth, you got fussing, you got screaming, you got hollering, I'm a grown one. Listen, if you're going to have dominion, brother, you're going to do what God says. You have to understand that God created. As long as it's a man, there's a woman. You know why? Because every woman came out of the loins of a man. And what one woman won't do, another one will. Get rid of her and turn her over to the Most High in her rebellion and allow the Most High to readjust her thinking and her mindset from being alone and hitting walls. And maybe she'll repent. And when she repents, there will be another man ready to have dominion, but she'll understand it better. Our sisters won't learn until the men stand up. We're not all bad. We're not all bad. It's just that the good don't get seen and the good don't get rewarded. And it's like that for a reason. Because when you don't reward a man for the good that he do, then you can't correct or chastise anybody else for the wrong that they do. You see? So dominion is one. And hear me. We're not just dealing with this from the standpoint of we're just dealing with our brothers, because our brothers need to raise up. But we also deal with the sisters too, because it's a place that all of us need to be. And so when a man can't have dominion, that's the first commandment that God gave you. We got to deal with that. If you don't like what you hear, turn the video off. Get off the radio. But it ain't going to change. Okay, yeah. So to all of my truth music listeners, we was having a few technical issues with getting the music to load up. And our technician have arrived, and so we're gonna convert you back over to the music, and then we'll be back as soon as we correct the problem. Yeah. So
you can keep talking.
So dominion, that's one. Now I hope y'all understand that. Every brother that's streaming on the line, if you understand dominion a little bit better now, put a 7 up in there. And that don't mean that since you understand dominion, you're going to go into a situation that you've been living in for 15 years and suddenly change it overnight. It don't mean that you're going to go in the house and turn into a tyrant and start telling your wife that God made you the man and you're supposed to have dominion. No, it don't work like that. And if you do that, you're not using wisdom. So the first one was dominion. The next thing was to subdue to the brother. The next thing was to subdue the earth. And subdue is where you getting the word subjected from. And to subdue something is to chase it down, to wrestle it down, to lay hold on it, and you got it. That's what it means to subdue something. He said subdue the earth. That means that you subdue everything. You bring everything up under your domain and your leadership. And sometimes to subdue things means that you got to wrestle with things sometimes. You don't just, when a cowboy is out there twirling this lasso and they chasing that calf and he throw that lasso around his neck and jump off that horse and drag down the rope, he got to grab him and then he got to wrestle him. He got to turn him on his back, put his legs up and tie his legs up till he can't move. So he's being subdued. And sometimes that's one of those commandments that's going with the structure, the family structure. Your wife had to be subdued, man. She had to be subdued. But we do everything that we do in love because this is what God commands us to do. If God command me, if you're a sister and you see that God commanded me of something, how are you going to go against that? Simply because you don't want to. Are you mad that God made you? And many people are mad. They are mad, shaking their fists up right now. I'm mad that God made me a woman. So I want to be a man. It's many people that's mad at what God made them. And they don't want to listen to God. They don't want to be subdued. These IG models, they don't want to be subdued. These TikTok girls, they don't want to be subdued. But those are parts of us that have gotten out of control. And if we don't learn or find a way to get them and subdue them and have dominion on them and be the instruction for them, then we're going to be in trouble. And the trouble ain't coming from the woman. The trouble is coming from God. You see? Now, any woman that come to stop a man from doing what God said, whatever. I hate to be the one to break the news to you. But I don't care how good you smell. I don't care how fine you are. You look just wonderful. You would even be to have had 2 or 3 children. You get to the point to where you stop. Where you got a problem with me doing what God said. Or you got a problem with God. You ain't got a problem with me. And God, since I'm doing with God ain't going to allow me to be with you. He'll make me cut you. And they got nothing to do with how much I love you, how much I care about you. He gonna cut me off from you. Because you're stopping me from being obedient to what he has instructed me as a man. Me having dominion over my wife does not mean a bad thing. Me subduing my wife, that don't mean a bad thing. It means that my wife ain't gonna want for nothing because I am the overseer. I know everything. And I am able to oversee the hurt and the pain in her heart. I'm able to oversee her spiritual understanding. I'm able to oversee her bills, her car payment, her insurance. I'm able to oversee everything. Anything that's out of balance with my wife, because I got dominion and because I have subdued her, she is glad about it, because she know my husband got my back, riding or walking, and I ain't got to worry about nothing when I'm under his care. Oh, that's marriage, baby. I don't know if y'all really heard that. I felt chills run down my spine. That's marriage. And that's the thing that nobody wants. That's the thing that don't nobody want. Why is it that we don't want the goodest thing in the world? I tell you, because Satan have painted you an illusion. He painted an illusion to the greatest people on the world. And the only way the world can change is if the family structure of God's people is built to be a witness, a living testimony, how things should be done. So we got to be able to subdue our women. And as I said, when we start using this terminology, they have made these terminologies seem so wicked by the time it gets to a woman's ear. But here's the thing that we got in our favor, brothers. God told us to do it. If God told us to do it, you ain't got to go with God's program if you don't want to. But wherever you're going, you'll be going by yourself, because you ain't dragging me along with you. So subdue, replenish the earth. To replenish the earth means to put back what has been taken out. You know, when the football players is running down there and they hitting hard and running for touchdowns, and when they come off the field on the sideline, what's the first thing you see them do? Can you imagine? What's the first thing you see them do?
Repeat that when the football player running.
Hey, when they running out there and burning up all that energy, when they get on the sideline, what's the first thing they do?
Just drink.
See, you feel somebody pouring that Gatorade in their mouth.
Mm-hmm.
That's what it means to replenish. And that's a commandment that God gave the man. He said, I want you to replenish the earth. Wherever you find a depletion, I want you to put something back in there. Wherever you find a broken heart, I want you to put some encouragement in there. Wherever you find somebody that's broke in their pocket, I want you to put some money in there. Wherever you find a sister weeping, I want you to put something in there to make her feel good. Put something in everything. He got a commandment to replenish the earth. And you can't replenish the earth when you yourself is walking around with an attitude, thinking somebody owe you something. See, we got to see ourselves like God sees. Replenish the earth, brother.
It look like the music ain't even up there no more.
Yeah, so we gotta do that, man. So, and then he gives us 2 more commandments, which makes 5 of the 7. And the next one was, I've given you all the trees and all the fruits and the seeds of the earth and these herbs. I'm giving you this for sustenance of your human body. And outside of that, there is no other lawful sustenance. So now you're dealing with the health of a man. When you look at the health of a lot of us brothers, we have eaten the wrong things. We have eaten things that God didn't tell us to eat. I was back when I was coming up as a young man, just out here, just trying to be cool. And I was eating Black Beauties and Valiums, and I was eating water, and I was eating crack. I was eating alcohol. I was eating everything. And I was eating all the things that wasn't good for my body.
I loaded up this program on that other computer, didn't I?
No, this one.
You sure? I didn't use that other, your son.
We did use that at first. We used that at first, but then you wanted me to switch to the laptop.
I did. So I put it up on here too, though. Because when I'm going to it, just like what's on your PC.
I can't help you, son.
Okay. I'm just letting you know that.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I can't help you, man. I can't do nothing for you, man. So we got to replenish. You know. So you know your wife got to talk. You better listen. I don't care how bad you don't want to. You better listen. I'm telling you, man. You know what? So the eating right, the health part, that's a commandment, and people don't really understand that. It is a commandment.
I'm just gonna bring you live.
Yeah, it's a commandment. Yeah, just put me on live and we'll just talk.
Yeah.
I don't need no music. I'm say like the old preachers used to say. I say like the old preachers used to say, all that music and all that singing, that's good, but you need to hear this word. Yeah. Yep, we back now. We back up on Love, Truth, and Redemption. To our brothers and our listeners on the radio show. Many of you know already that I don't play much music. I play a little music here and there. But we're still having those technical issues, and maybe it's for a reason. Don't nothing happen for accident. Maybe the Most High wants you to take a little time out of your music listening and just hear some solid word dealing with this family structure. We have King Moshe here. He is here with us, and I will have him to help me out, and because I don't have no Bible or nothing, so we're gonna be flowing strictly by the Spirit. So it's better when I have somebody here like that, because then they can go and find the word. So now we dealing with the health of a man is important. So I'm telling you what I did. And I ain't talking about, I done ate cigarettes, I done ate cigars. We sitting at the end of the bar, little old me with a suit and tie on and a brim on, with a cigar that long hanging out my mouth like I'm some gangster on TV. Then I'm eating things that God didn't make permissible. I'm eating things that were not sustenance for the human body. And if it's not sustenance, then that means that it's going to be against the body and it's going to harm the body. So God give us these commandments. But the thing is, when God give us these commandments, we don't want to do everything that God said. Just like many brothers. It got to be an argument when we telling you what God said. Why it got to be an argument? Who can come in and tell me that when God made the sun, the moon, the stars, the sky, when he caused the earth and water to be separated, when he separated the firmament, when he did all this stuff, you're going to tell me that he's going to change what he told you to eat, but ain't nothing else changed. You see, you can't replenish the earth by killing the things that you were supposed to care for. And you're supposed to have dominion over something, and you're content with seeing it get his throat cut off and stuck on the plate. Now, I told y'all that it was going to get tough in here, but see, we're not concerned about nobody's feelings because we're dealing with the word of God. And either you're going to be serious about that or you're not. And if you want to make excuses for everything and you say that God ain't command us this, then that's on you. But I'm going to look you in your face, and we're going to look face to face in this word so that we can find out how we're going to pull up the root that's destroying our families. And we have to start with the man because everything was committed to his care. Now, once we deal with the man, then we'll deal with the responsibility of the woman. But we're dealing with the root now. And everybody talking about, you got to keep all these commandments. You got to keep all these laws. 614. Don't you know, understand that when God told Adam, when he broke the seventh commandment, in the day you eat of it, you shall surely die. He said, your eyes will be darkened. And Adam was separated from God. And no longer would God speak to man. You know how these people talking about God said this, God said that, God ain't said nothing. He said them 7 commandments, and then he sat down and he rested until eternity. He ain't saying nothing else. That's what the scriptures say, ain't it?
Yeah, that's what the word says.
You think that God gonna jump up and then say something different? Okay, well, why he didn't jump up and change the sun into something else? Why didn't change the moon and the stars into something else? Why ain't the sea just overran everybody? See, everything is still operating up under the commandment. But when man sinned and began to eat things that God didn't give him as sustenance for his human body, he started to lose his mind because he got three of them. He got a mind in his stomach that now goes straight to affect the mind, which is in this chest, which is the heart, which directly affects or impacts the mind in his head. He lost his ability to think straight. Now, y'all don't think it don't matter, but it's in the book. Well, you know, the Levitical law. Don't tell me nothing about Leviticus. I'm dealing with page 1. If you can't get off of page 1, baby, you might as well throw the rest of the book away. But God is merciful. He's merciful. So guess what happened? Through that right there, the whole world was destroyed. Breaking of another commandment, breaking of that 7th commandment. The whole world was destroyed. Because all men began to eat things that wasn't good for them. All the way down to people. So, those are the 7th commandment. Those are 5 of the 7 commands. Now, the 6th and 7th commandment, the 1st and 2nd commandment is the first one that he gave. Be fruitful and multiply. Now, when God realized that man didn't have no mate, he said it's not good for man to be all one. It's not good for man to be by himself. It's not good for man to be alone. I'll make a help for him. Help me for him. Okay? Now, this is what happened. So he tells them the other 2 commandments. Now that I've done this thing, here's what I'm getting ready to command you. As a pair, be fruitful and multiply.
Right.
Be fruitful means is dealing with reproduction. The reproduction of people in the earth. Have children. And then multiply. See, fruitful and multiply is not the same thing. Being fruitful is having the act, but multiplying is something else. Multiply and fill the earth with images and likenesses of me. That comes by walking righteously before the Most High, teaching the next generation to do the same. And then you know, the whole earth is filled with images and likenesses of God. Now let me show you what happened. In the book of Genesis, the 5th chapter, read it, King Moshe. King Moshe, he's a little distracted. You can do what you're going to do if you want to. I got
you. Genesis 5.
Yeah, start reading that verse 1. I want y'all to pay close attention to this because one of the things that we say, I'm created in God's image. Ain't that what we say? You
right.
Created in God's image, right?
That's what we say. Yeah.
Queen, you created in God's image? Yeah, see, that's what we say, but let's see, because the whole thing is that we got to see ourselves like God sees us. You see, it don't matter what we think or what we see. Let's see if we see things like God see them. Read it.
This is the book of the generations of Adam in the day that the Most High created man. In the likeness of the Most High made he him. Male and female created he them, and blessed them, and called their name Adam.
You see that? Where was Eve at? You see, you sisters, you are still Adam. That means that you're still me. I know it's hard sometimes because we have a twisted, warped sense of teaching. They've taught us everything that's against God. And now we come to learn what's for God. It's difficult for us to accept because we've been accustomed to living a certain way. So he says, he was created, and read it again.
Male and female created he them, and blessed them, and called their name Adam, in the day where they were created.
Mm-hmm. Keep going.
And Adam lived 130 years, and begat a son in his own likeness.
Hold it, wait a minute. That wasn't there. That just couldn't have been there. He did what?
Adam lived 130
Did you
years.
catch that, Queen?
And
You caught that?
And begat a son in his own likeness.
See, so brothers stop. I mean, you know what? That's Leviticus. You know what? That stuff come from your daddies. Adam was created in the image of God. When he sinned, his children were created in his own likeness and in his own image. They were created in Adam's fallen state. So if you can't get off page 1, you might as well throw the book out the window. Because everything after Adam fell into sin, everything that comes after that is a result of sin. And so God declared, you know what? I ain't even speaking to you. And you remember the story where God gave them an opportunity to, gave the people an opportunity to have him and them restored back to interaction where they could speak face to face. You remember that? Mm-hmm. Pull it up then. Can you remember it? Okay, let's see. Let me give you something to pull it up. Let's do here. Let's see. Let's do this here. This gonna be good. Shoot, I'm telling you. Big Bro County. Okay, yeah, this is gonna be good. Okay, I can tell you the story. I can tell you the story since we've been having a little technical issues. It says that Moses was going to the children of Israel to clean them up so that they could speak to the Most High. And so he told them, get yourself together fast and clean yourself up for 3 days. And then on the 3rd day, the Most High, he going to descend down from the mountain and he going to start speaking to people. So what happened is that now God is separated since Adam. He ain't spoke to no people. Moses is going to be the one. Either. I don't have no idea. Oh, no, I don't know. But anyway.
This is probably throwing it. Is this connected to your phone?
Yep, but I ain't been having it connected and I still hear it. Yep.
Something ain't right.
I know it. But I ain't done nothing.
No, you fine.
Yeah. Okay, so what happened is that God's going to reconnect himself to the people after they sin. And so the people say, okay, we're going to be looking forward to hearing what God got to say, just like our people do now. Okay, we're going to be looking forward to hearing what God got to say. But when you start hearing what God got to say, the whole thing changed. You know what I'm saying? Everything changed. Man, God didn't say that, and God didn't say that. That ain't, you know what I'm saying? That ain't no nothing. That ain't nothing. God ain't said nothing like that. Let me turn this loud sucker on. Yeah, but God did say it. So the people are ready. God comes down in the mountain. The clouds roll in, lightning flashing, loud thunder. The volcanoes start erupting, rumbling. The whole mountain was rumbling. And what happened is that the people got terrified to the point to where they started to faint. So they begged Moses, Moses, please don't let God speak to us face to face again or we're going to die. So God started using men to speak to other men. And other men start speaking, and other men start interjecting things that they wanted to interject. Things that were against God. Anything that comes against these 7 commandments is purely against God. This dude here. I ain't doing that. Yeah, so them things against God. Man, you ever hear anybody, man, that you get somebody on the phone and all they want to do is just talk?
Yeah.
It's just talk. They don't listen. You can't get word in. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. I'm tired of people talking.
You cut the ring off?
I don't know how, but I'm going to cut the whole phone off. Yeah, So the people got frightened, and just like I said, so we have to always go back. So you're gonna be a man, a God man. You got to look at what God said, and there are many things in the Bible that God didn't say, and you got to be able to sift through that and find that. So that's what it is. We're dealing with the root, brothers, and we're gonna have to raise ourselves up, and we're gonna have to start understand what it is that we've been given. Because I assure you, when we start operating in the way that the Most High wants us to operate, He'll cause our life to flourish so bad, boy. I'm telling you, that woman to wake up having cold sweat. She be dreaming about you, dying to get her hands on you. It's right then that you can challenge her to be, what you know that she's supposed to be. So, now, when we come to our sisters have to understand that when you operating according to the will of the Most High, your primary concern is going to be the man. You know what? Any woman that got an apartment on her own, Queen, you're a woman in there. Any woman that's on her own and doing her business and got to pay rent and bills and gas and all that, what do you think is the most important thing to her? Just put yourself right there. Say you a single mom and you don't have nobody helping you do nothing. And you got these responsibilities that you got to take care of. What do you think is going to be your number one priority?
Taking care of my responsibilities.
And so do you think that your light bill just going to fall out the sky? So what are you going to have to do? So her primary responsibility is going to be to make money so that she can take care of what she need to take care of. You see? But when you get a woman and you understand that woman is you and you want the best for that woman, and you know what? You say you understand now what's most important to her. You don't believe it? You don't believe it? Look on TikTok. What's the first thing that come out of sisters' mouths now when it comes to a man?
They don't need them.
No. They know that they need them. But the thing is that they got stipulations on whether they're going to get it. So when you look at it, the most important thing that come out of a sister's mouth when it comes to a man is what? How much money do we make? Because he got to take care of me. When you handle your business and you got your power, well, you get the right to choose what you going to take care of. Now, I'm not saying that you can't go to work. But when you're upstanding man and you got your power with you and you find a woman that you love and a woman that you care about, work is optional. Oh, you can go to work. I know you don't want to just be sitting in this house bored all day waiting on me. You can go to work if you want to, but it's optional. What's the chances of that woman running off?
Pretty high.
Pretty high? You ain't listening to a word I'm saying. You just hear.
If she you said if she
I said, if a man have his power and have his authority and have his money, you see, the thing that she worry about when she don't have a man, the thing that's most important to her
I got you.
is money.
I got you.
But when she got a man that has everything,
right,
and that thing that once was the primary thing now becomes an optional thing, you can do it or you ain't got to.
right.
What's the chances of her running away?
Well, if he got some things she likes, she ain't going nowhere.
See. So I number one of the things is with us brothers, you know what I'm saying, is that, and this ain't got nothing to do with how much money you make. Because you got sisters chasing a bag. They say, well, you know what? I want a man to make $100,000 a year. You know what I'm saying? You know what? Hey, that's fine. But that don't have no bearing on the man. Because a man that's middle class that make $40,000 a year, his life is surrounded by people that is in his same arena. So that $40,000 a year look real good to a woman. You see? It's different levels and it's different standards. And then you can take a brother that's in the hood. He making $20,000 a year. But where he live at, it's people that's suffering way better than him. That $20,000 that he making, that looks good. He driving a bucket, but somebody else ain't got a car. Sister on the bus stop. You see? She's doing what she have to do. Mm-hmm. You understand? And she has a right, she has a genuine right to expect a man to take care of her. You know why? Because that's what God commanded him. He commanded you to have dominion over her and to subdue her and to replenish her. He commanded you to do that. And when you are operating in the way that God told you to operate, your woman don't have no choice but to fall in line. And love it on top of that. Yeah. And one of the reasons why it's so corrupt is because the thing that she needs, that she desires, she's looking for it. And she's making moves, but she's making all the wrong moves because she's looking in all the wrong places. She got to find a man that's a God man in order to get the instruction that God meant for him to funnel down to her. And it starts with us, brothers. Well, it's easy for a brother. Oh, man, these women off the chain. Well, how did you think that how you think they got that way? Oh, man, these women ain't nothing about these. How do you think they got that way? Because in order for it to be a grimy woman, there have to be a grimy man. In order for it to be a stripper, it have to be a low-level man that's putting $1 in their G-string. In order for him to be a prostitute, it have to be a pimp that land them out there on the streets. In order for them to be dope heads, it have to be a man that exposed them to the dope that they're on. In order, whatever the woman is, you the reason that she's like that. And you got to find a way to go and rescue her. But it's going to come at the destruction of your own life as you choose God's way. Man, this dude be going in hard on us. Hey, man, look, this ain't no Kevin Samuels over here. Yeah, y'all listen out to all the wrong people. You listen to all the wrong people. When did you ever see any of them brothers challenge a man about his responsibility? They put value on a man because of the money that he makes. But the money that he makes is coming because Satan offered it to him to help keep his family destroyed. He said in The Prince of Immortality of this world. You read it, King Moshe. You read it for him. I want it to run all the way down into their toes when I find this book. Where's that book at? You read it for him, King Moshe.
I got you.
Let's see. You read it for him. You read it for him. You read it for him. I know what I'm talking about. I know I'm saying something. And I ain't saying nothing in a judgmental way because I've been the man that blew everything. Driving a woman's car, living in a woman's house, eating up the woman's food, spending up all the money. The only difference is that I stayed with the woman long enough and I married the woman and I had children by the woman. But I still wasn't operating according to what God commanded me. I was a boy in my house because I wasn't paying the bills and all that like I was supposed to. Ripping and running and partying and spending my money elsewhere. I was doing all of that. So I ain't saying it in no judgmental way. And then once everything crashed, he who troubled his own house shall inherit the wind. And once it crashed, that woman was able to keep on going and keep on maintaining because she was maintaining before I even came. And when you get hooked up with a woman that's maintaining, before you get there, you ain't got no authority, you ain't got no rights, you're a boy. You got less rights than the children you're supposed to be raising. Don't a man want to live his life there? But look how many of us are there. Because we won't listen to what God got to say. Oh, man, you got to be a pimp or, you got to be a player. And you see, you'd be surprised at some of the crazy stuff some of these old heads told me. Boy, don't let them trick you out your dick. Don't let them trick you out your dick. You got to make them pay for it. You got to make them pay for it. Oh, like it's all right to fornicate. It's all right to enter into acts that's against God. See, I didn't come around with no godly men. They didn't tell me the right thing.
And I learned there's a lot of more men living with women than women living with men. That's what I'm learning too now. I remember I was taught old school way. I'm still a young man, but taught the old school way. Go out, get my own, and then take care of myself and before I bring in another a young woman. So get a little stability to myself. You know what I mean? Where I know I can take care of myself, put myself in position to take care of her. But I tried doing it the opposite way. I stayed with a chick before, you know what I'm saying? I did.
You was a boy, first class flunky.
Yeah.
Kingpin in the streets and come home and ain't nothing.
Ain't doing nothing, man.
Bag boy.
You know what I'm saying? Eating up her shit. You know what I'm saying? Just chilling on her couch, you know what I'm saying? Doing whatever, you know what I mean? I always got to the money, but I I didn't have the motivation to, because I was using her. You know what I'm saying? But it's really about a man holding it down himself, getting you a place, being stable yourself. You know what I'm saying? Finding your work, and then you be able to take care of her.
You know how challenging that is?
It's a big challenge, though.
You know how challenging that is? And that's why we telling brothers, you got to get in this word. You got to get in this word, and you got to start seeing yourself like God see you. See, what we telling you is doable, because this is what God mean for you. This is how God see you. But as long as you looking at your condition, at your circumstances, at the way that things are, you got to be able to change your mind, change your thought process. Because you know how challenging it is for a man that don't have God's thought process and instruction to do something as simple as get his own place and have his own car at the same time and be able to pay his own bills and be able to go, listen, it's brothers out here that's doing it. You see? Because some brothers have been at a greater advantage than others. Some brothers came from two-parent homes where they learned things, went on to college and got their job and got their money. And so they don't have those issues. But those of us that have never learned or even seen the example of what manhood is. See, people that came up in two-parent houses had the example to see what manhood is as you watch how daddy interacted with mama and you watch how she interacted with him.
Right.
You see? And some of us ain't seen that, and it's challenging to do that. But I'm telling you, brothers, you have to do it. Because until you get to that point, you'll be chasing after things that are no good for you. And when you get them, you become a slave to them. But when you get your own stuff and get yourself where you're supposed to be, you can pick and choose. You'll be surprised who start looking at you then. But then you can say, nah, I know what she about. I ain't doing that. Nah, I remember when I was down, you wouldn't even give me the time of day. So I ain't fooling with you. You get to pick and choose. You can have a one-bedroom apartment. You understand? You could be sleeping in somebody's garage that they done rented to you, and you done went in there and made it what it's supposed to be. It's a woman out there that'll come right in there and that'll love the provision that you're providing.
Right. Hey, and what's so crazy, my first apartment when I was coming out of the streets trying to do everything right to get myself together, it wasn't no fancy, you know what I'm saying? It wasn't no 5-bedroom house like I got now. I went to, I'd never been on Section 8, but these people had rented out these places and made them Section 8. I paid for a regular tenant, but the rent was cheap. It was about $300-400 a month, which was cheap, you know what I'm saying? Very cheap, but it was still expensive because coming from a minimum wage job, trying to do everything the right way, $300-400 is probably like a whole week or two worth check, you know what I'm saying? So, but at the same time, it was my place. I don't care if other Section 8 people lived around there. I didn't care, you know what I'm saying? I had my own place, and I was taking care of myself. I was walking to work, and then built myself to a car. My first car, listen, I used to sell dope. I come from Chevys and 26s and screens falling out the trunk, all that ignorant, right? I come from driving, doing that, spree wells. I don't know if y'all remember, we had to spin, all that. But when I started working and I had to get my first car, I'm a big dude. My first car was a Pinto.
Dang! Well, I can picture you with that thing. But it was yours.
It was mine, and I drove it proud, got to work until I got enough money. Then, got me a Regal, and then, you know what I'm saying, built up from there. But, man, my first car was like $150 for this Pinto, man. But it kept me, it had heat, it had cold, and I could get through the snow and all that to get to work, you know what I'm saying? So, I made it happen, you know, but I had to, because I did not want to be that dude going from girl's house to house, sleeping on the couch, you know what I'm saying, knowing I'm about to use you, knowing I only, you know what I'm saying. I couldn't be that guy, man. I just couldn't, because I got I know brothers right now, man, they are slaves to their woman right now, bro, because they are not in the predicament to be the head. That's her house or her apartment, and she paying most of the bills, and she doing this, she doing that. He might bring in a little something here and there, but That's hers though. Her name is on that lease. Your name, most dudes' name don't even be on the lease, man. You hear me? Like, it's crazy.
Fornication to mess
It's
them up.
crazy.
Turn you into a slave. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Turn you into a slave. And look, you know, we got brothers chasing after these. And I don't say this in a bad way. I say it because I aim to shame people in certain areas. We got brothers chasing after these artificial sisters. Now, our sisters are not content with who they are. They don't understand how beautiful they are. They don't understand how powerful they are. You understand? And they're constantly doing things. But the things that they are doing was not because it's things that we desire to see them do. We giving them instruction, trying to have dominion and trying to subdue them when they're going against the grain. Girl, take that stuff off.
Mm-hmm.
Put some clothes on. You are too beautiful to be messing up your eyes like that. Right. What is wrong with you?
Right.
Cover yourself up. Right. Be a wholesome woman. Walk like the queen that God made you to be. When we're trying to have dominion and subdue our women, who are they doing it for? Because if you're not doing it for me, then you're not doing it for yourself.
And we're not telling you and we wouldn't tell a sister that we ain't telling her to be disrespectful. But what I'm teaching my daughter, I got daughters. You feel me? So I'm letting them know if they, two things to it. If they go out and show the world everything they got, what you got for your husband, and then on top of that, you know,
disrespect. He ain't having no dominion.
Yeah, I know. You know what I'm saying?
He ain't having no dominion. Hey, baby, I know you used to wear that stuff before I came along and all that. You know what I'm saying? But I think it's time for us to redefine the nature of your wardrobe. You understand what I'm saying? You ain't going nowhere with me like that.
Right. And then secondly, I'm saying, do y'all know how? I mean, y'all know this is spiritual warfare, though, right? So if you got a woman walking out of the house and she dressed provocative, and a dude got you in his mind, and he might go, I'm gonna keep it 100, I'm gonna keep it raw. He go beat his meat to you. He's transferring spirit. Y'all transfer spirit not even knowing, because he's thinking of that individual. So that energy, them spirit, right? It's gonna transfer. You hear me? You don't have to actually be physically there with it individually. That's why our king said, if you think it, you done it. So you're gonna be held accountable for if you fantasizing about that individual. And then that individual that's been fantasized about, you're gonna be like, well, I ain't do nothing wrong. Well, in the eyes of the Most High, he did. So you're gonna be held accountable by him by enticing. You know that's he tells us not to entice each other, not to provoke each other. That's a provoking spirit. Y'all hear what I'm saying? So therefore, you're gonna be held responsible too for provoking. Mm-hmm. You can't act innocent knowing that you're provoking. You see what I'm saying? Now you can fool man, but when it comes to the Most High, man, he ain't gonna accept it. So we just gotta be careful on how we move. We're being accountable for our actions, y'all. Mm-hmm. You feel me? Yeah.
See, so these are symptoms. These are symptoms, and we're gonna start dealing with the root in a minute. These are the outside things, because when we start talking like this, you know, it's easy to say, "Wow, well, you know what? You know, I go hard on my brothers. I don't go hard on anybody. It ain't me going hard. I just put the word out there, you know, and make it real and make it living, because we don't deal with religion. We're dealing with righteousness, and we're dealing with the world that we're living in. And you can't walk in this world with blinders on as if we're not in the condition that we're in when it comes to the thing that's most important to God, which is a family structure. So the brothers have to be dealt with. And now you got the brothers, our sisters got these brothers out here selling dope and robbing and shooting people, and by any means necessary, so that they can go to the strip club, and so that they can try to have money to attract somebody. And you know, you got brothers out here that's working good jobs. You got the football players, you got the basketball players, you got the entertainers, and you got the actors. Yet we can't seem to keep our family structure together. And then you got the brothers on YouTube and Instagram that's so-called training men, but the only thing they're doing is giving you depictions of the condition that the women are the end, but they're never dealing with the root cause of the problem. And the root cause of the problem is us. And I would love to sit down and have had a conversation with that brother Tate, with the Kevin Samuels, and with some of these other brothers and say, wait a minute, you're going that hard on these sisters, but you have to ask yourself a question. How did the sisters get where they're at?
And that's why I was gonna say you're 100% right. Normally, you know what I'm saying. I love. Hey man, hey listen, bro. I love my brothers. I love us. You trust and believe me, bro. I'm the first one to put my life on the line for it and stand up for it. But when we are making our sisters believe that's okay. And because we want to make things easy for us, because we like things easy. As men, we simple in a lot of ways. And we don't, when you in the flesh and you outside the Most High, we like hoes, man. Let's be honest. We like whores and hoes. We want it as easy as possible. So we ain't got to have no attachment, do no work. We just want a squirrel. We're a squirrel, you know what I'm saying? Trying to get a nut. You know, that's just what it is. But when you actually grow up in the spirit, man, and get understanding, it start getting, it start bothering you that you seen your sisters like this. You know what I mean? It'll start messing with you because you be like, damn, we better than that. Yeah, you fine and beautiful, but I don't want to know what you got, mama. I don't want to know. You know, especially if I'm a man that got my own, I don't want to see what you got. I don't want to even think about what you got because you're not mine. You know what I mean? You don't belong to me. And I don't want to think in you in a ill manner. But when we make it okay, when we like, yeah, girl, go ahead, little mom, you bad as hell. You know what I'm saying? You look good. You know what I'm saying? Well, all we talking about smashing. We ain't talking about nothing in your character and your spirit. We talking about the hormone part, that spiritual part that's lust. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And we ain't talking about nothing good. So when we make it easy, and the sister's like, oh, this is what get them. This is how you, cause they desire is to their husband anyway, to a man. So they like, this how we get them.
Pull that up. Pull that up. That's gonna be 3rd chapter of Genesis. Pull it up. We can go through there. So yeah. So my thing is that we need our men to stand up and you know, like I said, you know, many things that we doing, we ain't been taught. We ain't been instructed right. We ain't been instructed properly. You know what I'm saying? So we're looking for the root. But the root cause of the problem is fornication. That's the root. That's the root. And that's Satan offering you something that God created to be good for family structure. And then he offered it to you. And then get you to enter into acts prematurely. And those acts become a destructive force. And because fornicating is so common, you know, we got boyfriends and we got girlfriends and we got boyfriends and girlfriends that stay together, live together as married couples, don't understand that you've been separated from the Most High because of sin. And unless nobody teaches these things, then we won't know. We don't know. So I want to show you some things. Now we have dealt with the men, some of the things dealing with the men, but we want to show the sisters something that is spiritual, and hopefully it can be received because it's coming from God and it's not coming from men. We're dealing with the root cause of the reason why our family structure is torn down. Read it, King. Read that part right there. This is for my sisters.
All right, Genesis chapter 3, verse 16, it said, to the woman, he said, I will greatly multiply thy sorrow and thy conception in sorrow. Thou shalt bring forth children, and thy desire shall be to thy husband, and he shall rule over thee.
Now, sisters, you're going to need to understand that when you start seeing yourself as God see you, I'm not talking about how Congress see you, how the Senate sees you. I'm not talking about how the laws that govern the state and the city see you. When you start seeing yourself like God see you. Now, it says there, this is a commandment. This is a commandment of judgment and punishment and reconciliation. It's punishment for being disobedient and breaking God's commandment, but it's also reconciliation if they can repent and accept it. If you can accept what God is saying right here, then your life will be better. And the first thing he said is that I will multiply your sorrow in conception. And when you give birth to children, you'll have great pain. Okay, that's what God said. But God, remember the first commandment that he gave them, to be fruitful and multiply. Now see yourself as God sees us. When in 2 weeks' time, more Hebrew Israelite priests, more Christian pastors, more Islamic teachers are slaughtered in abortion clinics than all the men that died in the Vietnam War. Every 2 weeks, all the men that died in the Vietnam War, that's our prophets and our priests and our kings that's being slaughtered in abortion, because the women have gotten to the point to where they don't want to hear what God has to say. This is my body. This is my choice. This is not your body. It's my body. It came out of me. And if I put a seed in it, it's because God told me to put a seed in it and to be fruitful and multiply the priests, the prophets, and the kings that would manifest his righteousness in this earth. You gonna tell me it's your body while you destroy the next prophet, the next priest, when it's not your body?
And it's no longer your body, especially when you become one flesh again with that man.
It is my body whether you become one flesh or not. And whether a woman is single, she still needs to receive the dominion and the subduing of a man and the replenishment. Because that's how God made us. It's the only way that you can be blessed as a single woman, is that you understand the authority that God has given the man. And you understand the part that you play. And hear me, sisters, when you understand these things, you are never without hope of getting reconnected with the man that's going to love you the way that you always desired to be loved. It's my body. You came out of me. And God gave me the seed because God gave me the commandment before he ever pulled you out of me. It's mine. And brothers need to understand the authority that God has given you. No woman rules no man. No woman runs over no man. No woman tells no man or dictate to no man what he gonna do. But a man listen to what God says, and then he transfer God's wisdom to that part of him that have been separated. Now you got God saying part of your punishment is going to be that when you bear children, you'll have pain. How can you be that minute to shake your fist at God and tell him, I'm not bearing no children. I'm having too much fun. I'm chasing after a bag. I got my own career going. And all the while you're getting older and older and older. And all the while the cootie is taking a beating and a pounding. And all the while you dragging young men into the pit of hell from causing and enticing them to fornicate. And you got to get your head right. And you got to start listening to the God men so that you can learn how to become a God woman. I'm not talking about a man teaching you how to be a whore and sell your body. A man taught you that. I'm not talking about a man teaching you how to become a stripper. I'm not talking about a man teaching you how to become wayward and promiscuous. I'm not talking about a man teaching you how to become an adulteress. I'm talking about a man teaching you how to become a God woman. That's what God. So we got to look at how God sees us. You see, he said, you got to have children. If you don't want to have children, you keep your legs closed. Because that's the only purpose that the vagina was created. For the purpose of reproduction. And that's why when women start misusing that great vehicle of reproduction, God will cause them to be barren. He'll cause them to have ovary cancer. He'll cause them to where they can't have no children when they want to. He'll cause them to have hysterectomies and all of those things that turn men completely off. It ain't many men that want to be with a woman that have a hysterectomy. Because the plumbing and the pipes have been taken out. And most of the times when sisters go through these things, it's because that they have allowed themselves to be tampered with. Come on, brothers and sisters. We got to raise up. We're dealing with the root cause of the family structure being broken and what it's going to take to repair it. You're not going to be able to jump up and down in church. I'm blessed, I'm highly favored, and repair it. You ain't going to be able to Sabbath day class your way and repair it. You ain't going to be able to Hebrew Israelite gathering and repair it. I don't care what you wrap your head in. I don't care what kind of garment you wear. Unless you come back and understand that God said you're supposed to be fruitful. When I get that man that seed, and that seed goes in there, it goes in there because you opened up your legs. And if you're opening up your legs in fornication, you're destroying yourself. And you're destroying the man at the same time. And that's why brothers got to raise up and get powerful and start rejecting these sisters that just want to sleep with them. I don't need no man. Only thing I need a man for. Well, guess what? You won't get it. You won't get it. Mm-hmm. Not for me, you won't. Mm-hmm. So he says, dealing with the childbirth. And then he also say, and thy desire shall be to your husband. You know, it's a reason why the Most High took your power up. He put limitations on your power. It's a reason why. Because when Adam started listening to Eve, everything fell out of whack. And I'm not saying Eve was to blame, because Eve wasn't to blame. Everything got to go on Adam. So the Bible say that Adam loved himself more than he loved God. He didn't say nothing about Eve. When it say Adam loved himself more than he loved God, he understood. That's flesh of my flesh and bone of my bone. She should be called woman. She was taken out of me. That's me right there. And I have fallen completely in love with her, and I can't even see going a day without her. I know them fell into sin. I can't see you destroying her and taking her away from me. So it's me against you. I'd rather hold on to her and have the worst life in this world than to be without her. Adam loved that part of himself more than he loved God. And many of us brothers can get to that point to where we love ourselves, because the women are ourselves. Adam loved himself. He loved Eve so much. He loved her so much. Even though Eve was falling in the sin, he went and fall in the sin right now. He knew he was going against God. That's how much he loved her. He loved her that much to turn his back on God, who had made him responsible for everything. He took a chance on losing everything for her because she was him. He said, I can't live without her. Oh, she's so beautiful. She's so bad. She's so sweet. I love the way she feel. I just can't see. I know you brought her to her. She ain't been here for long, but I can't even see myself living my life without her. Oh, God, please. I can't let you take her away. I can't let you take her away. I'd rather you destroy me than to take this woman away from me. Oh, sisters, if you don't understand, baby, when you come up on a God man have that kind of love with you. But there's a line that goes through the sand. He ain't going against God to please you. He ain't going to do it. And he still love you. So he says, and your desire shall be unto your husband, and your husband shall have rule over you. You see, a husband given authority and dominion over a woman to rule over her, it wasn't like that when God made her. It wasn't like that. They both walk upright, side by side. But listen, sister, when you get to a place to where you're out of control, God said, I got to put some walls on you. I got to make somebody rule over you, because I created you with so much power. If I don't put somebody over you to rule over you and keep that power in check, you're going to become a destructive force in this earth. So he said, your desire shall be to your husband, and he shall have rule over you. You can't get mad at us, because that's what God said. And when you understand that God placing us over you as a head and leadership, that is punishment. That came directly as punishment for your sin. And if you're going to repent, you must accept it. I know that stung bad. That stung real bad. So he said, I know. I took you out of him, but I made you. I fashioned you. I made him from the dust of the ground. But when I pulled you out of him, I fashioned you. I took my time. I put things in you. I worked on intricate details in you. I gave you things that came out of him that left him depleted. He said, and so you was created with so much power that you sinned against me, and you caused Adam to sin, and the whole creation then fell out of balance. He said, and if you want to repent, you have to understand the position that I put you in. Your husband shall rule over you. You shall desire to do it, but you'll have to take a back seat for your husband and allow him to do it. That's what God says. It's not what I say. You see?
Yeah, I mean, you know, Most High word trumps all word.
Yep.
And we gotta be responsible. We gotta just do the right thing, man. Like,
yeah, but see, you get the sisters. You got something, because he who finds a wife finds a good thing and obtain God's favor. So here you go. It's like, okay, a man got to go and find you, but ultimately you get to make the choice and determine what man you're going to be with.
but
So
I also say that though, when that man got to find you, looking for a good man to find you.
exactly, that's where we was going with that.
Yeah, you gotta be in the right
she get to
place.
pick and choose who she gonna be with.
Yeah,
Now, if you pick a rock, like they say, they love to use this terminology. If you pick Pookie and Ray Ray, that's on you.
And then on top of that, we gotta be looking at where we be meeting these brothers or these sisters. You know what I mean? We gotta look at how we meet each other and on what terms too. You know what I mean? Cause you know you can't expect to find, you know, that man who's gonna lead you to the throne at that strip club, like he was saying. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, things can work out. You know, you get crazy stories all the time, but let's just be honest though. When we serve the Most High, you trying to get led to the kingdom. You get caught in places you ain't supposed to be, and you surprised at the outcome of that relationship. Like, you know, we got to do better. So when you want a righteous man and you want a good man, you got to find that. Like, that righteous man probably gonna be on his job somewhere, or he probably gonna be somewhere doing something for the community. You gonna find him somewhere doing positivity, doing righteous work, doing something that is constructive. You know what I mean? It's not, you're not gonna find him selling dope on the corner, or you know what I'm saying, walking about, you know what I'm saying, the crab house, or you're not gonna find him at that divine. I'm talking about at that divine time. Now he take them kind of men and change them around. I'm one of them. You know what I'm saying? I'm one of them. But what I'm saying to you is that if that's what you looking for immediately, and that's where your mindset is, you're not about to find a righteous man that's gonna lead you to the kingdom. When you find, you know, when y'all in some places where you ain't supposed to be. You know, that's just what it is, though, family. So, I mean, yeah, women, be in position to be found, and men, you know what I'm saying, do what you're supposed to be doing. So and be in the right places too to find that woman, cause we ain't about to find our queen in no strip club or no club. You know what I'm saying? Maybe unless it's a book club or something. You know what I mean? But you're not about to find her in no kind of wicked place that goes against the Most High will. That's a transgressor. You're not gonna find her. You're not gonna.
So
find
what you saying? So you saying I'm going to the club? I'm wicked now? I said I'm wicked now.
Get you a wicked woman and going you.
Every woman in there ain't wicked.
No, I'm saying that place is wicked. That place is not the Most High.
Where'd you get that from?
What, the strip club?
Oh yeah, that place is wicked.
Yeah.
I thought you was just talking about just regular, just going out night spot.
No,
okay.
You're not gonna.
You talking about the strip club? Yeah, you're right. That place is.
I was about to say there ain't no.
And you know what I'm saying, man? Some of these places sell food. I said, man, I ain't going to buy. I ain't about to eat no chicken wings with pubic hair all in the hair and all that crap.
They sell chicken wings, knives, or whatever you want. I've been to many strip clubs.
I haven't.
I
haven't, man. I haven't. Let me tell you. I told you I got a sick mind. Let me tell you what happened to me one time. I had a friend of mine, and I I had a friend of mine, and he always was into the girls, you know.
Uh-huh.
He wasn't no pimp or nothing like that, but
Yeah, he liked the ladies.
what they wanted to do was fine. And then 5 or 6 of them living with him, and they was all strippers. He make sure they get where they got to go. They pay him, you know, his little money, whatever, you know. But one day I was messing with him, and I was at his house. And he was like, "Well, come on, Mitch, man, I got to go and take these girls and drop them off down here. Let's go down here and have us a beer." So we went in this club, used to be called 20 Grand on Truman Road. And then I had another club inside of it. And we went to the back door back there. There was a whole other club back there. And then the girls started
Secret
going.
club.
Yeah, they started stripping and all. I was sitting at the bar, you know what I'm saying? And I was like, damn, I ain't never been through this. Now, mind you, I'm going through my first divorce, you know. I'm probably into my second year of abstinence, okay? And I'm here, I ain't never been in no strip club, you know what I mean? And so, man, I see these girls start getting naked and all that, man. I'm like, damn, man, this is what's up. I got my dollars on the table.
Man.
And I'll tell you, I got a sick mind, King Moshe, man. I was looking at that girl out there stripping and dancing, and next thing you know, I seen my daughter's face on her shoulders. My daughter's head was on her shoulders. That spooked me so bad, man. I got right out of there. You know what I'm saying?
That'll scare the life
I got
out
a
of you.
freaked out mind, man, but that's what happened, and that was so real to me. I was like, oh,
But you know what, though? Sometimes things have to dramatically happen to us mentally like that to keep us from things that is going to even destroy us even more.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So it's not that you have a tripped out mind. It's just the simple fact that he knew exactly what to spook your ass up out of there not to come back to the place. And see, you had a discernment not to.
Yep.
A lot of brothers still go. I don't understand. I ain't gonna lie to you. One time I went in the strip club, and I think I spent about like $2,000 or $3,000. And when I was selling dope at the time too, so it was nothing.
Man, you was a clown.
I was a clown. I mean, I'm not gonna, you know what I'm saying? I'm gonna keep it 1,000 wild with you. I'm not gonna act like I was a pimp. That was some foolish stuff. Cause when I left the club, I'm trying to figure out. I'm like, damn, I just gave that girl all that damn money. You know what I'm saying? And then my partner he called me up, and he needed to be bonded out. Guess how much his bond was?
What you spent?
What I spent in the club. I'm like, bro, I got to take care of some business and I'll get with you tomorrow. So he had to sit in there for another day. It's all good, but it's a simple fact that when you blow that kind of money in the club, you think about all what you really could be doing positive with that money.
Pull that scripture up, prostitute not thy daughters. See, and that's men's responsibility, men and women's responsibility. That's the see that we're dealing with family structure, you know, and that's why, you know, and I say this again, you know, sisters that have been married, that have been divorced, and sisters that have been traumatized and they might be single. Hey, listen, you know, you don't be without hope, because when you start understanding how God see you and how He wants you to start operating, you know what I mean? He'll make your life wonderful again. And so when He's saying that your desire shall be unto your husband, and your husband shall have rule over you, I know that people have made that sound bad, but having something to have rule over you is not a bad thing. It just means that you have somebody that's watching you, somebody that's protecting you, somebody that's looking out for you, somebody that stop you from. If I'm ruling over you in the proper manner, I'm on my guard for decisions that you might make that might not turn out so well. That's rule, and it's like you respect that enough because of the position that the Father put me in. So it means that in you learning to trust the Father, you trust your husband.
And let me say this too. Sometimes it might be scary because we're used to what we're used to. So I get that it might be scary, but it will be the best decision you ever made in your life, though. Even though it might seem scary, that's what.
And why will it be a good decision?
Because we're talking about the Creator with order. We're talking about it brings such a peace.
That's what it is, because you're doing it because God said that this is what He wants you to do.
Exactly.
And you don't know what it's going to be like unless you try it.
Unless you try.
You try everything else, And
Right.
if you try it, you'd be surprised. So what did we say we was going?
Do not prostitute thy daughters.
Okay,
to
now
cause
here
her.
we go. This is for sisters and brothers. We're dealing with building our family structures, and we're seeing what's at the root of it and why we're in the condition that we're in. Now, when we look at the condition that sisters and brothers are in, the young sisters and brothers are in, it's not just that the women are off the chain, but the young brothers are off the chain too. They can't get along. There ain't no cohesiveness. You know, the men don't want to marry the women. They don't want to do nothing but smash, and then the women, you know, they want somebody to pay them for smashing. So both of us messed up.
I ain't gonna lie, as a woman, if I was a woman, I ain't a woman, so I don't know how to even say it, but I'm looking at y'all from my standpoint. It will probably be scary today to be a woman because you don't know if dude gay, undercover. You don't know if it's just so many aspects to a man that would blow her mind or mess her up to where she be like, damn. So she think this is how the game is ran. That's what we were saying earlier. It's our fault because when we do something real slime to y'all think that's how the game works because we hurt y'all like that. You know what I mean? So they really do be falling on us like all the stuff that I did in the street, all the women and things I was doing, and they had my mind warped thinking that I was on some pimping and this and that. Man, I was destroying them and myself and didn't know it. So
Them is yourself.
well, them is myself, but you know, every time I would run to another, you know what I'm saying? I'm destroying the whole scenario, like the body, the mind, everything, the spirit, everything, and I'm picking up and I'm transferring. You know, but like you said, Leviticus 19:29, it said, "Do not prostitute thy daughters to cause her to be a whore, lest the land fall to whoredom and the land become full of wickedness."
See, so who is he talking about? Who is he talking to?
Well, this is you talking to the children.
No, he ain't talking to the children because the children don't teach the children.
I'm talking about he not talking to the daughters.
Listen, read it again.
Do not prostitute thy daughters.
So who is he talking to? Who has the ability or who has the capacity to be able to prostitute the next generation of children? That's right, the parents. That's right. He's talking about the parents.
That's still the children.
Yeah, but no, that's not the children. You're talking about when we talk. See, we gotta keep this thing real. We ain't going to that science fiction stuff. The children of we talking about real life right out here, right now.
Yeah.
Who had the capacity to corrupt the next generation?
Yeah,
the parents, right?
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's what.
Who the parents are, or they children of who though?
Yeah, we know we children.
So that's what.
But I ain't talking about that. So let's keep it real simple.
Well, the reason why I said the children because I said it. Let me tell you.
I know we got King Camp Moshe right here. You
King
know.
Camp Moshe. Funny. He's the only one can talk to me like that. You hear it?
So listen, brothers. So the responsibility. Now, do y'all think that when I asked you who had the responsibility, who was God talking to about the children?
Right.
Who was he talking to? Was he talking to the woman or was he talking to the man?
He's talking to the head.
Okay, so when daughters are raised without their fathers, the chances are they will be prostituted because daughters have to be taught what not to do as well as what to do. Now let me go here right quick. I'm gonna give you something to read. You want to interject something? Get in there.
Because what I was saying is that the law, statutes, commandment, responsibility he's given to the children of Israel. So that it's on that man. It's on us. You know what I'm saying, to uphold that word. You know what I'm saying, and that's why I meant by children of Israel because he didn't give this to nobody else to have.
I understood what you meant, but I said, what I'm telling you is that we dealing with people from the standpoint, hey, everybody don't know nothing about Israel. Everybody coming from different places, so we just keep it real, boiled down to the life that we live in this world, you know.
Right, but all I was saying is that they not gonna grasp it if we don't be the example, the set apart example.
Exactly,
and that's what I'm saying.
Exactly.
So he's talking to us because we are to be that example. You know what I'm saying? The other nations not going. Look how they function. You know what I'm saying? They don't know off the bat. and he tell us not to go their way. So he's definitely not
And
talking
we going
to them.
right there to the slaughter.
Right. So
Learning being just like them,
right.
you know.
Right.
So he's telling men who are the head
Yeah.
not to prostitute their daughters
Correct.
or make whores out of them.
Correct.
And so you have a passage of scripture that says, "My children, hear the instruction of your father, and forsake not the law of your mother." So that's a hand and a glove. It's the responsibility. So God gives, man gives instruction.
Mm-hmm.
Mother gives law. Man gives instruction to the mother. And the instruction that the mother gives to the children becomes law. That if it's broken, it's a hefty price to pay. So when he said prostitute not your daughters, sisters, you have to understand is that when you raise your daughters apart from father or father figures in their life, chances are you're going to help to prostitute them. You see, you're going to help to prostitute them. And he said, he told us not to do it. He said, or the land will be full with whoredom. Now look, now I'm gonna go to a place. I got some people in town tonight. I'm gonna go to the place and we're gonna sit back and listen to some music, maybe drink a beer or something. But I guarantee you that I see two women in there dancing. And see, when these lesbian women's cut loose, they cut all the way loose because they want the world to know that they lesbians. You understand what I'm saying? And you know what? You guarantee you're going to see all kind of women in there that got their skirts up. You're going to see some of them that got these stockings with their booty cheeks hanging out. You're going to see all that. You're going to see cleavage almost to the point to where you can almost see nipple. You're going to see all of that. And so all of these things come as a result of prostituting our daughters by not being able to teach them or train them in the way that they're supposed to be trained. That responsibility comes from both of us. You see? Now, if a man raises a daughter, her chances of becoming promiscuous and all of that are very slim. They are very slim. Pull this up. I don't know why my internet keep going down on this iPad. Yeah, so prostituting your daughters. Now, when you look in this world, do it seem like the land is full of whoredom?
Yeah.
The land is full of whoredom, right?
Yeah.
You got Hollywood. You got the entertainment industry. You got the rap game, the videos. You got the Cardi B's and the Megan Stallions, the Nicki Minaj's. Those are your new role models. And they're doing exactly what God said. See, they don't see themselves like God sees them. See, if they see themselves like God sees them, they will know that they're on their way to destruction. You see? They will know that they're on their way to destruction. Now, let's look at the parents. We have almost become content with these things. We are almost. Say he had you in turbans, huh? That's what, Wendy. And you turned out to be a beautiful person, Wendy. You know what I'm saying?
All praise.
Yeah, that's Wendy. I be messing with her all the time because I said, boy, Wendy, I had a thing for Wendy. I said, the only thing about it is that I just been married most of my life. I couldn't be fully committed to her, so it didn't do me no good,
Right.
Plus, she ended up marrying a friend of mine, And I said, you know what? But I always thought that Wendy was a beautiful person. She always carried herself well, you know what I mean? That's good. And that's a beautiful thing because I can see that when I went out for Wendy is you remember I buried one of my brothers a couple of months ago.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Wendy was married to him. They have a child together. But anyway, when I went out for that little thing that they did, and her daughter is just as classy as she want to be. You know what I'm saying? So I know the right thing that was put in her. Her daddy, you know what I mean? He kept a watchful eye over his daughters because we had a responsibility. Mm-hmm. That means that men have to teach women. We have to teach girls. Mm-hmm. And all that stuff that people be talking about. Well, the man can't raise a woman. Ain't no man can raise a woman because a little girl gonna turn into a woman all on her own. Mm-hmm. The issue is what type of woman is she going to be?
And my baby, one of my baby girls, man, she'd text me, and
big shouts out to my mentor. We got DJ L.A. Dog, the undeniable, the undisputable, the incomparable DJ L.A. Dog, master of the blues. That's my main man.
That's what's up. That's what's up. But no, I was saying my daughter, me and her text back and forth with little silly memes and pictures, and I'm always telling her I love her. And you know, man, we do goofy things, you know what I'm saying, like that nature.
Mm-hmm.
And I try to, you know what I'm saying, show my daughters as much love as possible, like, you know, hug them and kiss them and show them that love, so they don't feel empty, and they how to carry themselves. Like, you know, sometimes my baby girl, she come running down the stairs with ashy feet, holes all in the clothes, and just looking raggedy, you know what I mean? But I try to tell her, just like her mom, you know, like, hey, baby, do this, do that, you know, pull this up, pull that down, putting it together, lotion, you know what I'm saying, take care of yourself, carry yourself well, you know what I'm saying, smell good, take care of yourself, you know what I'm saying, dress properly, you know, accordingly, you know what I mean. So I instill that in them. So if something ever did happen to me, you know what I'm saying, they have that still in their spirit and in their mind. And my daddy told me to carry myself like this. I never was short of love from a man.
Mm-hmm.
I always had a man active in my life that loved me and showed me that unconditional love. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And so it starts with when they a little girl. And the scripture make a lot of sense. You know, do not to whore your daughter, because I be out and about sometimes, ain't on some real talk. I ain't trying to talk about nobody, but I see other coaches, man, that they daughters be dressed like hoes, man. I be like, whoa, wait, and they daddy with them too, and the mom and other shit. I'm like, hold up, damn,
They don't know no better, man, because they ain't been taught, man. See, and that's the whole thing. See, here's the whole thing, and this is easy. So I tell brothers and sisters all the time, you know, we got to keep ourselves in check when we understand things or been taught in areas that other people haven't. We have to keep ourselves in check lest we find ourselves, you know, being hypocritical or hard on somebody for what they don't know. And just like you said, you know, it's mind-blowing that you can see that. But at the same time, when you understand that people have never been taught God's way, they've never seen themselves as God sees them. So if that be the case, then until they can understand or hear the truth and receive that, you know what I mean, then it's what it is. So I got something else for you. I'm moving on.
I gotta get that gym.
What time is it, man?
7:35.
Oh, it's almost about to go. You got to do what?
I gotta hit the gym tonight, man.
Man, whatever. You was late, man, so you got to make your time up, dude. You was 15 minutes late. We going 15 minutes.
Nah,
you don't come late and leave early.
This your show. I'm a guest on your
That's
show.
That's right. You a guest. You a special guest. So, you know what I'm saying?
Y'all see how you be trying to hold me hostage, y'all, man. Y'all see what you be doing to me.
Yeah,
telling
buddy.
you, man. This is live, so y'all my witness.
Okay. Let's go here. I do not like these funny versions, man, that they be having of the scripture. Give me King James. I got it. Pull up Sirach 42nd chapter, and then you can read it. Yeah, so.
You said Sirach 40?
Yeah, they are. Sirach 42.
Sirach 42.
First, I want to tell you, brothers and sisters, there's some things that we're going to read this Sirach chapter 42, and we know the radio program is about to end, but we're dealing with women and men's responsibility in the eyes of the Father, and we're dealing with the family structure. And so we have dealt with the brothers, and now we want to share some nuggets with the sisters. But for the both of you, I want to show you some things, because when you start trying to see yourself as God see you, that means that things in your life going to start changing. And then people going to start seeing you in a different way other than they see you. And so there are some things that you're not. Let's just go read the scripture. Let's go to the scripture.
What verse? Starting 1?
Start at verse 1.
I bet. Sirach verse 1. Oh, Of these things be not thou ashamed, and accept no person to sin thereby. Of the law of the Most High and his covenant.
Okay, sisters and brothers, these things are you not to be ashamed of. Listen, brother, when we tell you that God told you to have dominion, to replenish the earth, to subdue the earth, you do not be ashamed to walk by that authority. Whether people want to accept it or not, whether they believe you, whether they want to hear you or not, you do not allow nobody to make you ashamed of walking in that authority. Sister, if you understand that you repenting and allowing the man to have dominion and over you and in that manner and oversee over you, you don't have nothing to be ashamed of. They'll try to make you ashamed in this world for being that way. Oh, girl, shit, you let that man and you just do everything he tell you. They'll try to make you ashamed. And they'll try to make you ashamed for doing what God's saying do. He said, these things I'm about to tell you, do not be ashamed of. And the first one is do not be ashamed. When you start trying to eat right and you start trying to get the right diet and you start trying to get your health right and people talk about, look at him, he's just like a rabbit. The only thing he want to eat is leaves and stuff. Hey, listen, do not be ashamed of what God tell you. All right?
Accept not no person to sin thereby. Of the law of the Most High and his covenant of judgment to justify thy ungodly.
Now, you do not be ashamed to tell an ungodly person that they out of line and that what they doing is not right. You do not be ashamed to tell people that, listen, you fornicating. God gonna send some destruction in your life. You need to leave that woman alone. That is another man's husband. Do not be ashamed of God's law and to judge and justify the ungodly. Well, everybody their own man. Everybody got the right to do what they want to do. You're shamed because you're afraid of the outcome that's going to happen. He said, do not be afraid. Do not be ashamed of that. Verse 3.
Of reckoning with the partners and travelers, or of the gifts of the heritage of friends.
Do not be ashamed. Do not be ashamed of reckoning with thy partners and thy travelers. Because oftentimes, people won't try to tell you what you should do, what you shouldn't do. You understand who you should go into business with. Oh, no, I wouldn't do it. Hey, listen, you don't be ashamed when it comes to reckoning with partners or travelers or the gift of a heritage of friend. You don't be ashamed if you've done such good in your life that somebody leaves you something in their will. And say, you know what? I know I got all these children, I got brothers and sisters, but this brother, this sister been so good in my life. You know what? I want them to have the house. I want them to. Do not be ashamed of that. Verse 4.
And the merchant indifferent selling of much correction of children, and to make
you missed 4.
Of exactness of balance and weights, or of getting much or little.
This is the day that the Most High made. I should be glad and I should rejoice in it. Do not be ashamed because you're not out to get over on people. Man, you can sell that for $200. Man, you let it go for me. Do not be ashamed of that, of having balance with your life. Do not be ashamed of getting much or little. Because everything that we get, whether it be much or it's little, it's the Most High's provision. Do not make people ashamed because you have less than they have. You thank God for what you have. And you don't let nobody make you ashamed of that. And many times these things are helping to build family structure because we have to teach our children. I know little Johnny next door, he got a new bicycle and this and that and the other. And I know that they gave him a mini bike for Christmas and this, but we don't really celebrate Christmas. And then on top of that, I really don't have that type of money to buy it. So we have to teach our children the value of balance and how not to make other people make them feel ashamed. Do not be ashamed of much or little. Don't be ashamed because you can't. You ain't got 2 different pairs of tennis shoes to wear. Don't be ashamed because you don't have a closet full of clothes. Don't let people make you ashamed of that. You thank God for what you got. And if we can get the children to learn lessons like these, they'll stop killing each other. But they'll be content with what they have. Understand that whatever it is that they have, God had given them.
And of merchants indifferent selling of much correction of children, and to make the side of an evil servant to bleed.
See, don't be ashamed of that. Don't be ashamed of merchants indifferent when selling things. You can't make me ashamed. If we two people and we both selling something, you can't make me ashamed. You got the same item. My item is less than yours is, so I'm selling my stuff out. And now we got indifference because, you know, I'm doing better than you. But you don't have to be ashamed of that, man. You know what? I'm just selling everything, man. I need to let the brother sell something. You know what I'm saying? I need to make my price what his is. Or, you know what? I ain't got to be ashamed of that. If God blessing me and he ain't blessing you, that's on you. And sometimes God will bless one and don't bless the other one. And the other one that's getting blessed ain't got no business being ashamed. I used to be ashamed all the time when the Most High would do something for me. You know, because what people say, you roll up in your pretty car and you jump out clean. Oh, he got all the money. Boy, he got all the money. Everybody want to be doing that mess. And sometimes that stuff can bring you to shame. It can make you not want to drive the things that God have given you. Make you not want to go out in that type of manner. He said, don't be ashamed of that. Don't be ashamed of much correction of your children. But every time I turn around, that children getting a whooping, boy. You child abusing that kid. I ain't ashamed. Yeah, I ain't ashamed. I ain't ashamed to beat my kid's ass if they out of line. And he said, and then to make an evil servant bleed on top of that. Make an evil servant side bleed. I ain't going to have no shame about making an evil servant side bleed. If you are out of order and it's coming against me in a negative way, I'm going to make your side bleed. He said, I ain't got nothing to be ashamed about. Call the police and tell them exactly what happened. Yep, my name is Demetri Milligan. I live right here. This happened and that happened. And that's what it is.
Sure keeping is good where an evil wife is, and shut up where many hands are.
Y'all see that, brothers? Sure keeping. Because some of you going to have wives, and as our sisters start growing, they don't just land with an understanding of how God sees them. It takes time. It's like they have to be broken, like a bronco. You have to ride that thing, get through off, get back on, get through off, get back on, get through off, get back on, get through off. Once they understand that you ain't going nowhere, you begin to wear them down. He said, and sure keeping is good for an evil wife until she learns how to see herself like God sees her. And then you keep her shut up where many hands are. Because where there are men, there are vultures when there's women concerned. You see?
Right.
Until she gets where she need to be in her understanding of what God require her. If you know she have a background of evil, because our sisters are going to come out of the strip clubs. Our sisters are going to come out of these places. Our sisters are going to change their mind. And when they do and they get hooked up with a man, he got to be prepared to put a saddle on their back and ride them until they get to the place. Because you got to subdue them. You got to rope them down. You got to chase them down. And you got to subdue them. And because they don't know where they're going, from time to time, they'll be looking back. And sure, keeping on the evil wife is good. You keep her evil at a minimum. And when you know you don't bring her into an environment that you know she once had struggles in. You don't bring her into an environment, you know, where many hands are. Where she done been around and men know who she are and all of that. That they can hurt her feelings and all of that. Man, you know what, he done got her, man, and she used to be out there on the street, and she used to be a stripper. Boy, I remember when you see, a sure keeping is good for an evil wife. And you keep her shut up where many hands are until she learns to value herself and see herself like the Most High see her. And you don't be ashamed of that. Man, he just a dominant dude, man. He possessive. He don't let her go nowhere. It ain't that I'm dominant. It ain't that I'm possessive. But I got to protect her until she gets the understanding of that God wants her to have. And even though it may be frustrating to her sometime, she'll come to appreciate it. She'll come to love you for it. Come on, go ahead. Verse 8.
Be not ashamed. Number 7, delivering all things in numbers and weight, and put all in writing that thou givest out or receivest in. Be not ashamed to inform the unwise and foolish, and the extreme age that contendeth with those that are young. Thus shalt thou be truly learned and approved of all men living.
See, be not ashamed to inform the unwise and the foolish. Because if they don't never get informed, is where you get the word information. Don't be ashamed to give information to the unwise or the foolish man. And then on top of that, don't be ashamed to deal with them old men that think because they old, they know everything. That contend with young men because they have lived their life and don't want to go sit down. So don't be ashamed to deal with an old man when you 50 years old, 60 years old, and now you start trying to mess with my generation of girls. You want the 25-year-old? Be not ashamed to deal with them. Man, you 50 years old, man. When you was 25, this child was just coming out the womb. You want to go snatch a pepper off a baby? Besides that, this is my generation. You see, be not ashamed to do that. When you find old men contending with young men, you've lived your life already. You've had your children already. This girl here belongs with me. She's my generation. She's only 25 years old, and you got children that's her age. What's wrong with you, man? You should be to live long enough. Ain't you got no God in your life? He tells us don't be ashamed. Don't be ashamed of that.
The father waketh for the daughter when no man knoweth.
Now, those were the things that we didn't want to be ashamed of. Now we're getting ready to get to the things where we're dealing with our sister. We're still dealing with our brothers. But we're coming from the standpoint of our brothers so that our sisters can understand that what we doing is we doing because God tells us to do it. And when God tells us to do something, you have to be prepared to fall back. Go ahead.
The father waketh for the daughter when no man
See,
knoweth.
the father, I'm a father. I had 3 girls and a son. My son dead now. You see, I live the best life that I could live with my son. I don't regret nothing. It's God's will. But I got 3 daughters. And I've been waking up out of my sleep for them daughters since they were born. Since they were born, I've been waking up out of my sleep, losing my rest. It says a father, he wakes up out of his sleep when his daughter has an issue. You see? What if there ain't no father there? Who gonna wake up there?
All right. The father waketh for the daughter when no man knoweth, and the care for her taketh away sleep. When she is young, lest she pass away the flower of her age, and being married, lest she should be hated.
You see that? See, that's where the father wakes out of his sleep. And the care of his daughter causes him to lose rest.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead, man. We just going to do this part and then you can go. Yeah, we're in the show, man. I told you don't keep sweating me, man. I'll hold you here for another 30 minutes. Why you ahead? Cutie Nisha. How you doing, honey? So father, that's what a father does. Now, that's my young queen. That was her daddy that we laid to rest, okay? So a father wakes out of his sleep for his daughter, and the care for his daughter causes him to lose rest and to lose sleep.
Right.
And it says when she's young,
mm-hmm.
and he have to be that way. When daughters are young, their fathers mean so much to them. You see, but you start talking about the flower of their age passing, you're talking about those pure stages of their life, those pure stages where they're innocent, mm-hmm. and they need to understand the love. See, their first depiction of love is coming from the father, mm-hmm. and it's that example right there, mm-hmm. that grooms them for wifely duties. You know what I'm saying? So right. If there's no father there, she don't get that. And past the flower of her age, and it says, and then being married, lest she be hated.
Right.
You see, when our daughters don't get the things that they need from our fathers, mm-hmm. then they don't know how to conduct themselves when it comes to how they should treat or deal with that other part of their self, which is a man.
Right.
You see, in most cases, they learn from a scorned mother, right. who withholds the father. And she don't understand is that what you're doing is you're rebelling against God, and God is causing the life to be destroyed.
Right. Yeah, this whole chapter.
Now let's go to the next verse.
In her virginity, lest she should be defiled and gotten with child in her father's house, and having a husband, lest she should misbehave herself, and when she is married, lest she should be barren.
Okay, so that's a father. He said he have care for her in her virginity. He makes her understand that she is a garden, and that she got to be aware of who she allowed to come along and plant in her. And based on who she allowed to come plant in her, it's going to determine whether or not she gets a beautiful crop of children, or whether or not she raises up thorns and thistles. So he have to have a care for her and give her instruction where her purity and where her, hey, this is the greatest gift that God gave you. You don't just give it to no anybody. You see? But you tell that to some of the sisters on Instagram. They talking about how many bodies you got in high school. That girl said, oh, I had about 25 bodies in high school.
Terrible, man.
25 bodies. Well, see, where your father at? You see? Because the father cares for a daughter in this particular area. And it said, he said, and if there's no father there, he said, or lest she will be defiled. That means if there's no father there, the chances of her being defiled are multiplied.
It's pretty great.
And it says, and then also he had to care for her in that area, lest she be defiled. And to be defiled means that you're going to go out and start fornicating prematurely. And then next thing you know, you're pregnant in your father's house. And that brings your father to shame.
And that's why it said in there, for keep a sure watch over a shameless daughter.
Mm-hmm. Yep. It say so man is supposed to do these things. And sisters, you have to understand, if you have daughters, you have to allow that man to do it. And you know what? You have to help him do it. You might have to be the one to persuade him how important it is that he do these things. You might have to be the one to tell him that these things are in the Bible, that God means for you to do these things. A man keeps a watch over a shameful daughter. A sure watch over a shameless daughter, lest she make thee a laughing stock to thy enemies, and a byword in the city, and a reproach among the people, and that she'll make you ashamed before the multitude.
That's what the word said. That's
Yep.
what the word said.
Yep. Okay, you ain't got that many. You had a couple of more, man. You had just a couple of more.
So good.
12.
Behold not everybody's beauty, and sit not in the midst of women.
Now, brothers, behold not everybody's beauty. Listen, don't be looking at everybody that's beautiful. Do not be looking at everybody that's everybody. He said, behold. You ain't got to look at everybody that's beautiful. Now, I know that's hard, brothers, because listen, right now to this day, I have problems not looking at the body of a beautiful woman. But God's still saying this. He's saying that do not do it. Do not behold, do not look at everybody's beauty. That means every woman that walk past, we got to look at their body. You know what I'm saying? He said, don't do it. And he said, and sit not in the midst of women. Men do not sit in the midst of women. No. Men don't sit around and have a conversation with women. You know what I'm saying? If my wife got some girls that come and visit her, I grab my hat and I'm gone. I don't want to hear that stuff, that cackling, no way. I'm out there, I'm gone. You know what I'm saying? Because women are the same way that men are. Because when men sit around with women, other women get wanting eyes. And before you know it, he done accidentally fell up in his wife's friend. You see? So he said, don't do that. Go ahead. 13.
For from garment cometh a moth, and from women wickedness.
See? You put a bunch of women together, you got wickedness coming. Especially if it's a man sitting in the midst of them. So he tell them, don't do it. And he said, the reason why you don't do it, he said, because the same way that a garment attracts a moth, women attract wickedness. And you put 5 women together, and I guarantee you, you got a cat fight. So.
That's it right there.
That's enough for you. You can go. So
I'm free.
Peace and blessings. Peace and blessings be upon all of y'all. We're sorry, brothers and sisters, in Love, Truth, and Redemption and Truth Music Radio. We do apologize that we didn't get to play no music, and we'll deal with these technical issues. And I hope, and sometime I think maybe the Most High said, you know what, I need people's attention on this one. So,
I'll be out
So,
tomorrow anyway to look at this again, though,
yeah.
see what's going on.
no, man, you have to call and make an appointment. Shoot.
For you to hold me high.
So, peace and blessings, y'all. It's indeed a great day to be alive. The Most High Heavenly Father made, we should rejoice and be glad in it.